Wednesday. To those of you guys that are tuning in, I missed my YouTube family on yesterday. But if you, for those of you guys that caught us on TikTok, you guys have been caught up with everything that has been happening. As always, as you guys are coming in, do me a favor and tell God thank you and tell us one thing that you are grateful for. I'm trying to get my moderator here. Um, Go ahead and tell us something that you are grateful for on today, with the exception of life and with the exception of waking up. I will say that today I am just grateful for better days. Today compared to yesterday was indeed most definitely one of the lighter days between the two. And so I was telling God today, like, Lord, I am just so grateful that it is over and done with. And so also for those of you guys that are catching this thing on the replay, what's up, my Yanni? For those of y'all that are catching this thing on the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay crew tomorrow. A little bit late. Tomorrow's tea day. We started tea days back up, and so tomorrow we will probably broadcast. If it's not too crowded, probably from Starbucks. I have started a little routine where I like to go get me an iced coffee, real coffee, not the ones with the sugar in it, but real coffee. And so yeah, the update for where we are right now. But I wanted to again just come on. I missed y'all yesterday, and so prayerfully we gonna let today be what today is. As you guys can see by the topic of today's daily manna, it is give God the memory. Now I don't know if you guys have ever like had a moment where it's like not necessarily traumatic, but something that just is exhausting in nature, something that takes a lot of emotional output, a lot of physical output, or whatever the case may be. I don't know if y'all have ever had a moment where something upsets you so much that even, on the very next day, you find your mind kind of wandering or lingering in that place. Hey, Miss Nicole, come on. I know, man, grateful that God is in control. I know. Oh, that's right. How many of y'all have like ever like dealt with something like that where it's like something happens and it was something that was just very major, whether you got into it with the person or whatever the case may be, and it's like the next day comes, and even though you're really not there anymore, you have those moments where you are just thinking about like what happened and replaying it in your mind over and over and over again. And so today was one of those days. Yesterday was a very rough day. It was one of those days where when I actually sat and thought about it, I said, Lord, this has been literally a long time coming with me having to like, in a way, crash out on my neighbors, and I didn't realize that like it had been a buildup for like the past like few months. Like it's probably been about 9 months since my sister moved away. And I'm like, it has been a buildup over the time of, actually me getting to a place where I just literally just get how you basically deserve it. And so yesterday, that happened, and today I found myself having moments where I'm just still like in my head, thinking about it, preparing for a war or whatever the case may be. And I'll be for real, it was starting to drag me down today, even though today felt lighter. Just the residue of, and I don't think people talk enough about the residue of when something happens that is, I guess, something that happens that brings turbulence into your life. I don't think people talk enough about like the residue of, and how sometimes it can take a few days just for you not to feel the effect it is that you went through. I've gone through it circumstantially. I've gone through it with people, whatever the case may be. And so, needless to say, I was having a moment, and my mood was starting to like dampen. It was almost like a repeat of how I felt yesterday. And I'm gonna say this: what the devil hopes is that we stay stuck in a day that is already come and gone. Even if what you're going through is not with people, what the devil is hoping for, and even now they back playing music. What the devil is hoping for, hold on one second, you guys. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Okay. Okay, there we go. And so, yeah, they see I can still hear them in the background, but I'm sorry about that, you guys. But I had a moment today where, like, I was just thinking about it, and nobody talks a lot about like the residue of what happens when you go through something that like really upsets you or something that has been a long time coming. And so today I was having one of those moments where it was almost like I was reliving it and almost feeling like I'm gonna have to continue to fight, or I'm gonna have to continue to do this, or I'm gonna have to continue to do whatever the case may be. And so I had a moment where God told me, and I went to him, I'm like, God, what is this about? Like, I'm not trying to like control the situation. I'm not trying to do anything. Like, I've done all that I can do. I got all my ducks in a row. I'm documenting everything. But like, what is it, that I can actually do? And so I had a moment where he told me, he says, yes, even though the day has gone, you have not forgiven in a way to which you have memory. And I'm gonna say this. He says real forgiveness looks like giving me the memory of what happened. And then he began to like highlight how even outside of even outside of forgiveness, even when we go through traumatic experiences, when we go through traumatic events, that until you actually give God the memory, that thing will replay on a loophole. And it's like, as long as you're allowing your mind to linger in a place of yesterday, as long as you are allowing yourself to like linger, in something that has come and gone, like, you will continue to feel the effects of that thing. And I'm saying all of this to say is that what the devil hopes is that many of us get into a place where we feel the effects of a storm that is come and gone to such a degree that it hinders any ounce of movement going forth. And so it was almost like God began to like show me that like you're replaying this in your mind and keeping you from your current assignment. Like, it is the reason why you're not doing everything that you could be doing. And it's the reason why you're starting to feel frantic and even upset again. And so as I was getting ready, the Lord asked me, he says, now, will you give me the memory? If you want today to be different, if you want to not have to deal with the residue of it, can you truly forgive and give me the memory? And it's like the more and more I sat in that thing, I began to realize that a lot of times we hold on to the past because we don't trust God with the future. Yeah. Oh man, that just ate me right on up. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. That just ate me right on up. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times we hold on to the past of what happened, to the past of what somebody did, and we're holding on to it because we don't trust God like with the future. We don't trust that God will bring us into a future outcome where the cycle or the circumstance doesn't repeat itself. And like when I really like sat down today and really thought about like what I was actually thinking about, it was all holding on to what happened yesterday and trying to prepare for, if this happens again, this is what I'm gonna do. If this happens again, then this is what you am I making sense? Like, that was me in a nutshell, like just having to. And it's like the more and more I sat in that place of holding on to it, like, it was really disrupting my peace. And so when God began to just highlight, like, you're holding on to the past because you don't trust me, how I snapped myself out of that was actually thinking about moments where I felt like God let get over with doing whatever, right? People with me, it may be something else with you, but like for me, it's always people. And a lot of times how it be feeling with me is that the devil used somebody and it be taking me days to recover. Yeah. I'll say that again. For me, the devil will use people and it will take me what seems to be days to like recover, to just get myself back on track. And today I really struggled with even going live. And God had to tell me, like you've given me the memory. Like, it is your choice at this point to whether or not you allow this to drag you down and to just make you not show up altogether. And so I chose to show up. Like, it be depending on the offense, depending on what a person has done, it be days. And so today I had to make a different decision. But going back to like what I was talking about, like with giving God the memory and how I snapped out of like just sitting there, like trying to prepare for a future attack or the devil potentially using this person again or the circumstance repeating itself, was that I really just honestly, and in a nutshell, I really just had to sit and think about like moments in my life where I held on to something because I thought that God wasn't going to get them back. I remember, like, when I was with my ex, this person was a narcissist. And honestly, it felt like this person was doing me the dirtiest, but still living a blessed life. And I remember maybe like a few years ago, this person contacted me and they looked horrible. I'm not even gonna lie. And I will never forget this person like flat out of their mouth saying like, a lot of the things that I've gone through, I really, I'm sorry. Like, I believe that a lot of what I'm going through is because of what I did to you. And this person just straight up apologized to me. And I remember like it's calling. I'm just like, what? Like, apologize? Like, I've never heard hold themselves accountable and say, I apologize for what I did. I was wrong. And it's just like in that moment, getting off that call, I remember God telling me, like, no one gets away with what they do. Even if you don't see me get them, even if it takes some time for me to get them, there is no one whose actions will not be accounted for. And it's like when I actually somebody needs to hear this today. When I actually just that in that thing, it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a family member, it could be a so-called friend, it could be a coworker, it could be a neighbor. You understand what I'm saying? I actually just sat in that thing and I'm just like, you know what? You're right, Lord. There's never been a person that has done something wrong to me that has got away with the scot-free. He was like, it's like the more and more I sat in that, I'm like, yeah, my old bodybuilding coach, he cheated me out of money, didn't want to give me my money back. I did to his business. I'm like, and then, I'm gonna say my birth sister. I'm like, she did what she did, and literally her life went down the drain. She lost her job. I'm not lying to y'all. It didn't happen right away, but she lost her job and now it's working at Amazon. And that's not to shade nobody or nothing like that, but it's just to show the decline. Her best friend did the same thing, being mean and hateful. She was a lawyer in a building on a penthouse. God took her and now she has to work for somebody else. I kid y'all not. And it's like the more and more I sat in that thing, I said, you know what, God? I can trust you with giving you the residue of what happened. I can trust you with giving you the memory of what this neighbor did. I can trust you with the outcome because there has never been an outcome in my life where you've not rectified it. Whew. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. I said, Lord, there's never been an outcome where you've not rectified it. And so it was like in that moment, the fear that I initially felt. And I'm gonna just say this: a lot of times we don't trust God with giving Him the memories, especially with what people did. Because for a lot of us, it goes back to our childhood. I don't know about you guys, but growing up as a kid, I felt that people did a lot of wrong to me, and they just got away with it. As a kid, I felt like nobody was there to fend for me. That was literally how I felt. And so it's like, even as a young adult, feeling like there were moments in my life where I'm like, God, you just let this person do this to me. You just let that happen. You just, until I healed, right? And so today it's like, when I actually sat in that and I told God, I said, Lord, you are a trusted vessel. There's nothing that I can't give you that you can't fix. And it's like when you think about forgiveness, when you think about just moving on with your life after the storm has come and gone, after the circumstances come and gone, after the person has did whatever they did or said whatever they said, like, it's like, can you really afford to hold on to it? And like, that was the decision that I was having to, can I really afford to let the devil just make me quit for a few days? And I'm gonna be real, it was a fight. And sometimes it is a fight to still show up after something happens, especially if you have unresolved feelings about it, especially if you feel, I hope that I'm making sense, especially if you feel like this person or this situation, it's something that happens on repeat to back to back to back to back in my life, right? And I'm going to just say this, trust has to start somewhere. Yeah. God told me this today before I hit that live. He said trust has to start somewhere. Yeah, you're verbally giving me the memory. You're verbally forgiving. But now I need you to act on it. Yeah. Move on. Move on from it. And a lot of times that's what action looks like. That's what faith looks like. Our ability to move on after something has happened, after the storm has come. Move on. Yeah. And so to the people that need to hear that today, give God the memory. Whether it was a setback, whether it was a circumstance, whether it was give God the miracle. I mean the memory. That is the only way that we shut the door on the devil. I highlighted it. He told me, he says, every single time like something is about to happen in your life, the devil always activates a person, and that person always makes you pause in your journey with me. God told me, he says, you can make today be different. Like this season of your life can be different. Like you can choose not to let that weigh you down. You can choose to fight. And I'm going to say this. The Lord told me, he says, the devil always uses people because it's been the only effective way to get you to quit, even if the quitting is temporary. I want some of y'all to think about the things that have been happening in your life. The reason why the devil does this, every single time he does that one thing or uses that one person, it always, or even uses that person with the same spirit, it always makes you quit. It always makes you throw in the towel. It always, even if it's a temporary pause. And you just think about how much closer could you have been had you not stopped? Had you just said, you know what, God, that over and done with. I'm not going to keep replaying that. It's a brand new day. I am going to just rejoice and be glad in it. Faith is a choice that all of us have to make. I'm so glad that I came live today. I'm so glad that I popped on YouTube today. I just got to just throw that out there. I am so very, very grateful because the devil has definitely been fighting. But I'm going to say this, even though the devil fights us, there is a reason why God has called us more than conquerors. Because there's nothing that the devil can do, no fight that the devil can put up that can keep us from God's perfect will for our life, especially if it's something that we want. And so, you let this be a reminder today that faith is really a choice. You want to move on from memory of what somebody did, give God the pain, give God the frustration. And sometimes, like for me, this is day 2. Yesterday was one day, but then today, it's just kind of like God saying, are you going to let the day repeat itself? You wasted you wasted so much time being in your feelings yesterday. Do you really want to repeat yourself, or do you want to just do what only you can do? Yeah. And when I really sat and thought about what can I do, the only thing that I can do is to let my sister know, like, hey, these people are still doing this. I cannot tolerate this. I work from home. Fix it. Point blank, period. And so that is it, man. That is definitely it. If this has blessed you, can you just tell God thank you? For those that are here, we will be going live on TikTok at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight. So if you are not following us on there, please be sure that you smash that follow button. But that is really, honestly, really and truly all that I have today. Faith is a choice. Come on, the storm doesn't have to, the storm of yesterday doesn't have to become the storm of today. That's a whole word. Somebody type that in. The storm of yesterday doesn't have to become the storm of today. I'm going to say it again. The storm of today doesn't have to become the storm of today. and that is today's daily manna. Again, if you're catching this thing on the replay, please go ahead and hashtag replay crew. We love to see who's catching us on the replay. If you have not already smashed the button, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button. Make the right decision today. Make the right decision today. For those of y'all, thank you so much, Mayani, that feel led to sow. 17 is the number that whether it's $1.17, whether it's $17, whether it's $34.17, it does not matter. But 17 is the number that I hear. That is all I have today. The ways to sow are pinned in. They're in every single video, but you can also catch them in the description of every single video. We still have our Amazon wish list that is here. But that is it, y'all. That is it. That is it. That is it. I love y'all. Also tonight, it may not be a nightcap, but tonight is definitely supposed to be a nightcap night. So we'll just see how that flows tonight. But that is it, y'all. I love y'all. Is there anyone who needs to be sown for before I get off of this live today? Is there anyone who needs to be sown for? Yeah, that is it. If we're good, give me some fire emojis, and I'm gonna skedaddle on off of here, and I will see you guys a little bit later on. I love y'all. I'm rooting for you guys, and so yeah, till next time.